sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So get a restraining order for goodness sake. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Will, and for those of you who partake in this holiday, Merry Christmas. Christmas is a holiday that means a lot of things to different people. For some, it's a nice break from work and a chance to visit with their family, and for other people, it's a living hell. Of course, we all know the true meaning of Christmas: presents. Just kidding, of course, although I feel like Christmas definitely has just become a greedy corporate holiday these days rather than Jesus and whatnot. For many people, especially those with children, Christmas season means that Santa Claus is coming to town, and you can finally threaten your kids into good behavior by saying that the random man who comes by once a year won't bring them presents. It truly is a magical time. I had my visitation with jolly old St. Nicholas this year. I took some of my friends' kids, and luckily for us, it ended up being an exciting time for them and not a traumatizing one. Although if I'm being quite honest, I don't think they realized who exactly they were seeing, and they were more excited about the rock that was found in the parking lot than the jolly man himself. They gave me the rock. So there's that. But still, they were definitely excited when they saw the jolly man himself, and mostly all of the decorative prop presents surrounding him. When I was a child, like most kids, I was always super excited about the concept of Santa Claus. I mean, who wouldn't want a mysterious man bringing them presents in the middle of the night while they were sleeping, after stalking their behavior all year round? Of course, I'm making it sound ominous now, but when I was a child, I genuinely was excited about the concept of Santa. It was cool to me. I mean, a magical man bringing you gifts, awesome. But I want to say that I officially stopped believing when I was around the age of 8. And I distinctly remember the last day of school before winter break, when I was in 3rd grade, we were watching a movie involving Santa, and the whole class had a huge conversation about how our parents were just trying to kill our Christmas spirit and that Santa was definitely real. Looking back, I think most of the class knew the truth and was just, you know, trying to have fun, but I desperately wanted to hold on to my beliefs, so I wanted to believe that Santa really was real. You bet your ass, if I hear a strange noise in the middle of the night, to this day, I will look out my window, just in case there's a reindeer. In this economy, who the fuck am I to pass up free gifts? With some limitations, of course. Anyways, the point of that being, I would say that as children, we generally aren't too analytical over the character of Santa Claus. We just want to believe in the magic, and that's all right. And before someone comments and say, well, I was analytical, I had my disbeliefs even when I was a kid, congratulations, here's a cookie. But for the most of us, we just wanted to believe in Santa Claus, and that was that. Now, as a bitter adult, looking back at all of the media surrounding Santa Claus, I'm kind of like, what? What even is the character of Santa Claus? There's so many weird things about him in songs and movies that I want to discuss it and talk about what kind of character Santa truly is. The character of Santa Claus is based on a real person, St. Nicholas, from the 3rd or 4th century, who was a very giving and kind man, and the character of Santa has just been evolving ever since. Of course, now he's most commonly depicted as an old man with a white bushy beard and a big red suit. Of course, we all know the general rules of Santa Claus. He observes you every day, monitoring your behavior closely, and if you're good at the end of the year, he brings you presents. And if you ever watch a Hallmark movie about him, he's usually the guy who pushes the main character to date the little old farmer from her hometown. Nothing more magical than that. Now, several people have been mentioning the character of Santa for years, bringing up how creepy the concept actually is, essentially teaching children to ditch everything they've learned about stranger danger for one night only and instead invite this stranger into their homes. A lot of people do turn it into an uncomfortable thing, forcing their children to sit on the laps of a man they don't know just to tell them what they hope they might receive for Christmas, just to make shopping a little easier for the parents. Of course, this isn't a thing against everybody. Some people genuinely have good intentions, like us taking our kids. Because obviously, everyone was having a good time. I'm not trying to put negative meaning behind that, but a lot of people have found flaws with the character of Santa in past years, including some of the lyrics surrounding him. He sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. Or you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Why, Santa Claus? Is he gonna clock me if he sees a tear in my eye? Can't help it if I'm a little bit sensitive, Santa. I also think that there's a lot of confusion of the character of Santa Claus, which I'm going to go into first. And that confusion comes from what exactly Santa brings and who he cares about. Santa filling the whole living room with gifts for some children, but for other children he's leaving some less expensive clothes or toys and leaving only 2 or 3 things. Does Santa like these other kids better? Obviously, of course, this is actually due to the family's budget and what they can afford to give their kids, but for people who genuinely believe that this man is delivering these gifts, I just feel like it paints Santa in a negative light when kids are in school discussing what they've gotten from Santa. I definitely remember hearing kids talk about getting more elaborate things than I did, and while I was always thankful for what I got, I definitely thought it was a little bit odd that Santa could afford to give some kids others and some kids a little bit less. By the time my cousin was born and like celebrating Santa Claus and stuff, I was past the age of believing and I knew the truth, but I even remember like seeing what he would get from Santa compared to what I did, and I was like, yeah, that is a bit strange. I feel like it's not fair to see some kids getting iPads or devices and really expensive toys, name brand clothing, while other kids just don't. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to spoil your kids and give them great gifts, but maybe don't say they're from Santa Claus, because then some people are just going to think that they weren't good enough or deserving enough of nice gifts if there's a magical man in the sky who can do everything and just didn't. That's not me trying to shame parents in any way, it's just a point I wanted to bring up in regards to Santa, and one way that I feel like he's kind of depicted in a negative light. Moving on to less deep meanings, Christmas songs. Some Christmas songs meant for children just really don't paint the best picture of Santa now, do they? And they just leave you feeling a little strange. The first song that always made me feel odd as a kid was I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. As I got older, I realized the song obviously meant like mommy was kissing her husband dressed up as Santa Claus. But as a kid, I heard this song and I just wondered why. Why is mommy kissing Santa Claus? It didn't make any sense to me, and I didn't get what was supposed to be funny about daddy not seeing mommy kissing Santa Claus. You expect me to listen to a song about her infidelity and then tell me that I better watch out. But what a laugh it would have been if daddy had only seen mommy kissing Santa Claus, all right. There would have been a divorce paper under the Christmas tree that morning. The song sounds like a children's song too, like it's not like a soft, beautiful ballad depicting the beauties of Christmas or the beautiful birth of Jesus Christ. No, it's like an upbeat, fun song for kids to listen to. It's played on the Christmas station, and I definitely listened to it as a kid. And obviously, when I was 5, my first thought wasn't infidelity, but I definitely still had questions, and I didn't understand why mommy would be kissing Santa Claus. Was she just that grateful that he was visiting our house that year? I don't know. Was it just mistletoe law that they happened under the mistletoe so they had to kiss? It didn't make any sense to me. And why would it have been funny if daddy saw? Similarly, another song geared for children, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Why is Santa okay with the relentless bullying of this poor reindeer? All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. Okay, but then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa decided he needed help, so now this strange little reindeer's brightly colored nose might happen to come in handy. So now he's just the bee's knees and guiding the sleigh every year. If I was Rudolph, I'd be extremely petty and I'd say, nah, you're on your own, Santa. Like, the whole point of Santa Claus is he's supposed to be this kind character, but he just was okay with this reindeer being excluded because he looked a little bit different. I know the meaning of the song is supposed to convey like how Rudolph ended up being helpful despite what made him strange, and it was a great, beautiful thing. But they still bullied him and tormented him for his nose, forced him into isolation, and then pulled him out when his differences benefited them. Also, like this Rudolph movie that I watched as a kid, I haven't really seen it since childhood, but I'm pretty sure in that movie Santa himself was isolating Rudolph. He's like, your nose is too bright, get away from me, which caused Rudolph to like run away, only coming back when he ended up saving the day. Maybe we shouldn't be teaching kids that they only have value if their differences can be beneficial to other people. I know it shouldn't be that deep, but it's just something to think about. Lastly, the song that kind of actually terrified me as a child, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Also, not to mention Frosty the Snowman, about a snowman literally like dying. Leaving that one be though. Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer is also a more upbeat song that's supposed to be positive and fun. I've heard it on the Christmas station. It was on Christmas CDs I listened to as a kid, and it genuinely made my grandma cry when I listened to it, because she's like, do you want me to get run over by a reindeer? Is that what we're saying? No, that wasn't what I was saying. It was just a song, but the song is kind of really dark, and it definitely doesn't paint Santa in a great light either. It is more on Santa's reindeer than Santa himself, but Santa, you know, is with his reindeer, so it kind of matters. There was a line in the song that said they should never give a license to a man who drives a sleigh and plays with elves, implying that Santa wasn't in the best condition to really be guiding his reindeer anyways, and that he's kind of at fault for Grandma getting run over too. Maybe Granny was drinking too much eggnog, but it sounds a little bit extreme. Like, was she really drinking that much that Santa just decided that coal wasn't enough to give her this year? He had to just, you know. It also mentions disbelief, like you can say there's no such thing as Santa, but as for me and Grandpa, we believe, because, you know, they found Grandma in the morning with hoof prints on her back. Or no, on her forehead. There's incriminating claws marks on her back. My bad. Like, is this what Santa does to non-believers? Just runs them over with his sleigh? Is this why they decided to get Rudolph? Because Santa was having too much fun with eggnog and he couldn't see Granny? They needed a guiding light so that this didn't happen to other people's grandmas? I don't know. This song is so dark. Why is this a Christmas song? It doesn't even have a happy resolution. Like, Granny stopped drinking so much eggnog and Santa got Rudolph to guide the sleigh. I'm pretty sure Grandma died, and they all just believed in Santa because she died. Alrighty then. That's not weird at all, is it? The next confusing thing about Santa is how they portray him in movies. Two of my favorite Christmas movies as a kid, The Polar Express and Santa Paws, featured adults or older kids who didn't believe in Santa Claus, but in this universe, Santa Claus is real, so where do these people believe that the gifts are coming from? In the real world, it's because we learn the cold hard truth that our parents lied to us. But in these movie universes, Santa is actually a real person who actually delivers the gift, so what reason do the adults have for not believing? One greedy parent just decided to take the credit anyways, and so Santa just stopped delivering gifts? Does Santa just not show up because the parents don't believe, so then the parents are actually leaving the gifts? But that also causes the question, why would the parents stop believing if Santa Claus is actually bringing the gifts? Do parents just want kids to stop believing, so they're like, yeah, he's not real, and that's that? Why would you do that though? If a guy could deliver gifts for free, why wouldn't you want that? The Polar Express, for example, I was literally like, are you stupid? Because they woke up on Christmas morning, presents under the tree. We saw Santa like prepping the gifts, getting them in bags, ready to take out in his big sleigh to deliver. So we're under the assumption that Santa was delivering those gifts and that's where they came from. So what do the parents think when they wake up on Christmas morning and see all the gifts? Do they just assume that the other parent happened to do all the gift giving and they didn't check with each other beforehand? Do they just think someone broke into their house but not a magical man? Because that's concerning in its own way. I remember being confused as a kid. I believed in Santa, but I was like, how can the parents not? Because Santa done did it. Santa gave the presents. So what reason do they have to not believe? I feel like movies definitely need an excuse or a reason behind like people stopping their belief, just because I think it creates a weird little plot hole that even confused me as a child. And it just makes the character of Santa a little more confusing. Lastly, one thing that confused me about Santa Claus as a kid always was the concept of mall Santas. Now, I know that some people have made up stories to their kids like, oh yeah, this isn't like the real Santa Claus, it's one of Santa's helpers because Santa can't realistically be here right now. And some kids are like, all right, cool. But I know other people are genuinely just meant to believe that that is the Santa Claus sitting before them at their local mall, right there before their very eyes. I know for a little while in my childhood, I definitely believed that, and it was confusing because I'm like, how is he here right now? Like, isn't he supposed to be watching children? watching the elves prep their gifts. Like, doesn't he have a million other things to do than to listen to every Tom, Dick, and Harry detail off what they want for Christmas this year? I always felt so bad seeing him. I'm like, I don't want to give you too long of a list, Santa Claus. I'm just gonna tell you like one thing I want, and I'd be like, that's good for me, Santa Claus. We Gucci. Like, I'm taking up his time. He has things to be doing right now. He needs to be prepping those gifts. Like, it was always confusing to me as a kid. Or then you go into another mall and there'd be a different Santa, and you're left to believe which one of you really is the big man himself. Now, I actually like the concept that people tell their kids, like, oh, this isn't the Santa Claus, but, you know, he's one of Santa's helpers, you know, helping. I think that's a logical explanation, and I definitely would have believed it as a kid. But I just feel like it's confusing because people make up this idea of Santa being real, and then there's plot holes in the Santa universe that no one wants to fill. In the long run, I think we all just need to sit down and decide who exactly Santa is, because the concept of Santa is wild. And obviously, yes, of course, I'm overanalyzing things. Is it really that deep? No. But it is sure fun to go back and analyze on a kid and realize just how weird some of the childhood things I've heard about Santa really are when you analyze them as an adult. And I do think that there are some things that could be addressed if we want to keep kids' beliefs going. Overall, this is just a silly little video. None of what I'm saying really matters. It's all just in good fun, but Santa is a little confusing, we can all admit. With that being said, that is going to be all for this video. Oh my god, also my sweatshirt has Crocs on it. I hope everybody has a happy holiday season in whatever you do or don't celebrate, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace out.